Okay, so what I've decided to do is over a period of time, I'm going to be testing a various bunch of cards. You can see over there in my rig now. Various 3D Mark Vantage scores from a completely old card that I have to something that's more recent. What I have here inside this rig now is an 8400 GS 256 meg. As you can see down here on my score sheet, just get the camera out of the way. I've drawn up a little table here. I'm looking for the 3D Mark Vantage GPU scores. Oops, as you can see there. These are the different cards I shall be using. 8400 GS and 8800. I don't exactly know because I'm picking this up tomorrow. I don't exactly know what type of 8800 it is, but I will get back to you when I do the benchmark. GTX275 896 meg, a HD6850 Radeon card, and eventually a GTX560. Now, regarding the specs to my rig, it is a i5 760 at 4 GHz on air, 4 GB of RAM, and whichever card I decide to put in, and that is pretty much going to be our little test segment rig. Okay, so I'm going to actually go into the options right now, and these are the settings I shall be running. Alright, so 1280 by 1024, multi-sample count of 1, text filtering are optimal, all that other good stuff. The only thing I'm going to be changing, see, this is the exact specs you get in the options by default when you first install 3D Mark Vantage. The only thing I'm going to be changing is disabling PPU, and I shall be doing that for every test. Okay, so I'll come back to you shortly with the results of the 8400 GS 256 meg. Oh my god, 0 FPS a second, blah. Okay, so unfortunately after the last video, which was the 8400 GS, it failed twice. First time the screen, I came back and the screen was just blank, like it wasn't responding, and so I restarted it, retried the test again, and it gave me devices stopped working, and you know, it has recovered, and pretty much that killed the test twice. Pretty much going to move off that card, so I couldn't get a score for that one unfortunately, so now I got back in my GTX275. Looks a lot better in the case with the size wise. Okay, so now we're going to continue our test, and I'm actually taking off the CPU test since we're not worrying about those, and of course disabling PPU. So once again our specs are still stock, just PPU is disabled. Okay, so let's run the next test. Okay, so our GTX275 is done, and we have come out with a GPU score of 11156, so 11,156. Here are the readings which we got. So our GPU test 1 and 2 averaged about 32 FPS. Okay, we didn't do CPU test, and here are our readings for our feature test. So it's time to swap cards over again and try the next one. Okay, so I've actually come to see quite a difference between the 275 and the 6850. Whereas this one, the total GPU score is 13,432. So, oops, 13,432. Right, so I've actually seen quite a difference between the 6850 and the 275, even though they might look different. Like the 275 is more bulkier, bigger, and you would actually presume that it would be more powerful, like somebody random would probably think that. But I was having my doubts about the 6850, but it's actually performed quite nicely. So that's sitting in my system right now, and so we've actually seen quite a difference where the average FPS for 4 was 32, now we've got 40 and 38, so probably the average in between is 39. That's actually a very nice improvement considering it's just a slight level up. And here are our feature test results. Once again, very nice. And so yeah, thanks for watching. Now it's time to move on to the next card. Okay, so I'm back again the next day with more tests to do. If you remember from the previous clips, we've failed the 8400 GS twice, and our two cards there have quite nice scores. Today we are up to trying the 8800 GT. Now this is sitting in my PC at the moment by XFX, the 8800 GT Alpha Dog Edition. Okay, so we're about to start the test again. Of course, we've disabled CPU tests and we've disabled PPU. As usual, same stock specs once again, and let's run the benchmark. Be back in a minute with the score. Okay, so we are back with the score, and as you can see there, 5,875 for the 8800 GT. So let's have a look at the little specs here. I was quite impressed by the card because it was very good for its time, but now we're in 2011, it's just a bit outdated. It still ran well though. 17.5 and 16, yeah, probably about 16.5, maybe 17 FPS average. That's probably about 10, yeah, an average of 10 FPS lower than our GTX275. So, and here are the feature test results. You can compare, but it did quite well. So here's my little sheet. So it did quite well. It's done to pretty much double the power to get the points of the 275 pretty much. But yeah, so probably next time we're going to do the 560, and that should be up next. So just stick around. Okay, and now we're up to the GTX560 Ti 1 gig. So we're just going to hit the run benchmark and see what we get. Okay, so the tests are finally finished, and our GPU score is 18481. You can see there. So we've had pretty much probably about a 20 to 25 FPS increase since the GTX275, which is good. Here's your feature test results. So these are our final scores, and I reckon it went pretty well. So just for Vantage, it's pretty good. Alright, so thanks for checking out this little Vantage test video, from something old to something new. And yeah, thanks. So as an ending to the last videos, I've now got an i7 2600K at 5 GHz and not daily of course, and two 560 Ti's, twin Frozers, GTX560's, and that's our final score for throwing in two, whereas if you see the last video clip with just one, but there's my results. And yeah, stay tuned for vids on the system soon. Thanks.